All right, my Thus, I want to say that I've taken a bit of whiskey and I think I'm almost finishing 750 ml. It's because of Corona inside and I can't go outside. But I need to speak to the world. But so if you come for me, please just know that I was under intoxication. I think I have some kind of defense here, right? You know, as the world spins and we all run towards the same direction, faster than the supersonic jet, the direction of fear and uncertainty of what will happen next. I call upon Africans to unite. Africa is our fatherland, and it will be a pleasant thing to stay united and strong. You know, like Bob Marley said, it's time to emancipate our soul from mental slavery. Slavery that the solution to our challenges must come from Western countries or China, yet they are the cause to our problems. That is slavery of our mental capacity to think. And actually, none but our souls can free our mind. And just like we have no fear for atomic energy, we will not fear corona. And this corona is actually manufactured as a biological weapon to wipe African race, now working against the manufacturers. It reminds me of an African saying that he who digs a hole must enter himself. And right now, what you see happening, corona, affecting the whole world, actually it's affecting even the very country that manufactured the disease. You know, something funny is that when you look back, is that mostly these people they first came as explorers, then they bought us as slaves for nothing, and then they killed us and dumped us in oceans, deserts, denying us the right to choice and to life. You know, they later came back as saints with the Bibles, gave it to us to be held by both hands. And whatever we had in our hand was actually put down. That's basically what happened. We were then told that, you know what, when you're going to pray, make sure you close your eyes while you're praying. And whenever you pray, have to say, oh, I do pray, please. And something funny is that everything we had in our hand was to be put down. Our natural resources, our minerals were all stolen, gone by the moment we opened our eyes. Since then, we are beggars and dependents to them. And something funny is that Africans, we are tempted to demand what they had stolen from us. And obviously, through the rebellion, resistance. And this led to what we call the partition of Africa. You know, this was meant to divide us like goats and sheep in the Bible. And now we kill each other believing they are goats and we are the saints, the sheep. We are enemy to ourselves. Our minds, our soul, and spirit, they were all colonized. Divide and rule became the main tactic, and we now call ourselves Kenyans, Ugandans, Nigerians, South Africans, not Africans. Yet we are all sons and daughters of the same mother, Africa. You know something funny? After stealing, they became wealthy from our resources. They made guns and they sold them to us to kill ourselves, which we do each day. Kill our own brothers and sisters, separated from us by an imaginary line, not even a wall in the name of partition. Now, you hear we kill ourselves. You're another tribe, I'm different, we kill ourselves. You're from this country, I'm from, we kill ourselves. Civil wars, wars from across our borders. The borders that which are actually imagined, they don't exist. And the truth is that we are now powerless. And the more powerless we become, they are actually more powerful, they become more powerful. They create, manufacture disease, but the funny thing, they also create the cure. The diseases are to kill and wipe Africans on the face of the planet. Poor as we are, they end up giving us loans to buy the very drugs of the same diseases they manufacture. And this is to enslave us even more after we ironically call ourselves independent. We cannot be independent if we still depend on the people that kill us. And that's very true, whether you like it or not. We cannot be independent when our education system cannot and can't solve the challenges facing Africa and African people. We can't. And we cannot be independent when our leaders behave like Europeans, Americans, and Chinese employed to manage African farms, which are competing with their own companies abroad. Yet they're real African. Yeah, this is their motherland. This is their ancestral land. We cannot be independent when we continue to borrow. Yet our leaders have the billions, which are even more than what you're borrowing. Something funny is that we are borrowing all these millions or billions of money. You hear even Corona, we want some money from outside. That money comes with a lot of strings in it. Then the question is, why do we borrow money that's in the country? Our leaders have this money. If you really love a country, go out politics and talking about how much you love. Why can't we bring the resources we have, the money we have, so that we can actually be able to revive economies other than borrowing? So, so that is the patriotism we're talking about. And we cannot be independent when we continue to depend on China and other foreign countries and continents for the basics such as food, clothing, and shelter. Africa is my fatherland. Once so beautiful, rich, and full of life, has become the land of lack, land of deficiency, war, hunger, and unemployment. Land where a crying and helpless mother can openly go on national television and want to sell a child to afford a meal. Even with billions you do not want to give to the poor. This is, I'm speaking to our leaders. Even the billions you have that you want to give to the poor. Every day you lie to them with sweet and empty promises, how much you love the country, more especially when you're campaigning. But the funny thing is that when that time comes, you'll be buried in a plastic. You'll be buried in a small hole. If you're very lucky, it'll be 6 feet. But just look around what's happening because of this corona. It might happen that way. That would be the end of you, and billions you stole or never helped your country, but instead made them slaves to borrowing, will be left behind. That's the whole truth. My most admired African leader, though murdered in a hole, he gave Libyan people decent life, a roof, and food. But think of Benito Mussolini. He tormented Italians. Yes, right now Italians are tormented by COVID-19, but he really tormented them. And the funny thing is that he was buried even in a unmarked grave, like a poor man. Unmarked grave. Just think of our people who have died. We have the tombstone. There is a name, so and so. But this is Mussolini. If you don't understand the history, I think you need to find out who is this Mussolini, Benito Mussolini. All the things he did. But at the end of the day, after amassing a lot, killing people, he ended up being buried in an unmarked grave. I wish we all know what Alexander the Great knew about life. If we all knew that, then my sisters and brothers on our beloved continent wouldn't be suffering. Presidents, politicians, businessmen wouldn't allow our countries to borrow from countries that suck our blood till the last drop, but rather bring the resources they have for the nation, and generations will honor them and never steal, knowing the sacrifices made by them. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of media. But the mere fact that I'm an African, born in Africa, on African soil, the land of beauty, the riches of all, but vandalized by few, I was compelled to make this video. This is my voice of reason, through which I believe words of wisdom have to be shared to every African watching this clip. My brothers and sisters, we are not enemy to ourselves. Our real enemy they really manufacture civil wars, and they sell guns to us, and then they're the very people that condemn us on CNN, on BBC, Al Jazeera. There are very people who can say, so and so is a dictator, so and so, but they're the very people who sell us weapons to fight, to kill. You know, actually, when they know that you have nothing good left, they will sell you to International Criminal Court and call you a dictator. That's what happens, and this is the reality. You know, just remember one thing, that whenever they call you a darling today, you're their worst enemy tomorrow. You know, the funny thing is that they manufacture diseases. For example, H1N1 virus in 1918, it killed so many people. H2N2 pandemic, 1957-58, it killed many people. H3N2 virus, 1968, it killed many people. H1N1 pandemic, 2009, it killed many people. They manufactured Ebola, they manufactured HIV, and now COVID-19. But the funny thing about COVID-19 is that it's actually doing more harm to the manufacturers than to the people intended to. These are all biological wars. They're actually warfare aimed at killing you to reduce your population because you're a threat to them. But before you're reduced, they first make billions from you first, sucking you like a calf, sucking from a dying cow mother, from foot and mouth disease. This is what happened. Why? Because they're the ones who will invent the cure of the diseases they've made, and they're going to demand billions from you. And the funny thing is that you don't have those billions of money. They will give you as a loan, meaning that they make business from you by killing you. And that's basically what happens. And this is the whole truth. Argentina did that. One might suspect that there are no blacks among the city inhabitants of Argentina. But Corrientes, the black population, was largely wiped out after it was menfolk. For example, after its menfolk were used as cannon fodder. And during Argentina's War of Independence and the following civil wars, and then throughout the 6 years of conflict with Paraguay that began in 1865, many Africans were killed, and this was intentional. A cholera and yellow fever this epidemic also came. That's in 1861 and 1871 respectively, and this was aimed at wiping the black communities in Argentina. This was intentional, and this is what's happening. And that's why when you go to the whole of let me say South America, you'll find that Argentina has the least population of blacks, and that was very intentional. This was orchestrated by the leaders to put Africans at frontline and make sure they're affected by diseases leading to reduction of the black community. And this is what's happening right now. When COVID comes and when Ebola and all the stuff, this is basically what's happening. And that's why I'm saying that Africa should arise now. I believe it's time to stop tears running down our cheeks. It's time for us to stop this war and become, for example, come back to Ubuntu, the humanity we are actually. I believe that now is the time to unchain the mind and to unchain the hearts of African people. And I also believe now is the time to create the image of new dream of great Africa, united Africa. And that yes, we can. Yes, we can do this. Yes, we can achieve this. We have what it takes, not just to stand aside and look. We have what it takes to stop being guinea pigs and victims of victors. This is not just part of life. It is actually designed for you to believe you cannot. You're not worthy. You can do nothing and you're nobody. And this is basically what's happening in Africa. We believe we are nothing. We are nothing. We can do nothing. And that's why a small disease such as Ebola, we have to depend on foreign to come to do this. And that's basically what happens. Remember, no one can stop the hand of time. Only God has time and space in his hand. I believe that Africa will stop living in poverty amidst a vast ocean of materials of prosperity. I believe that we shall, let me first take a look, okay? Okay. I believe that we shall be just to each other on our motherland. I believe, and this thing can be achieved. I also believe that if we unite, we shall be able to afford freedom from poverty and security of justice. I do believe that. Yes, I believe that all stolen resources will, without force, be brought forth and be utilized one day without being stolen, again for the benefit of all Africans. Now, to my fellow Africans, it will be fatal actually for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment and continue to live on borrowed life and oxygen when actually we are borrowing what belongs to us. And by this, I need to say that we need to stand up as Africans. Leaders, we need to do more. Let's stop talking and start doing. And I need to say that may God bless Africa. May God bless Muammar Gaddafi. May God bless Nelson Mandela. May God bless Robert Mugabe. May God bless Jose Alberto Mujica. And also may God bless Abraham Lincoln. And above all, may God bless every suffering child, mother, lady, father, and every leader on our continent. And I need to say that it's time for Africa to rise. It's time for Africa to do more, and it's time for Africa to mature our forces and expand our resources. And we can do this. We can fight whichever disease. We can fight poverty by leaders living sacrificial life. And this is the message I have for you. As I have my last sip. So please, when you arrest me, just know I've taken like 500 ml of whiskey. Thank you very much for listening.